All right, so we're trying something out here. Let's see. I'm obviously on my favorite bridge. I have my lighting set up, so let me see. I get this over here a little bit. That's sky's not as good as it normally is, but I figure this is good as it gets. So anyway, uh, I decided to actually, start this channel, like I said. And before I actually start doing the real stuff um, for the four people that view it, I just want to get into what my goals are with it, and uh, not why you should listen to me, but maybe a little bit of background as to like why I have interest in certain areas and why I've been involved in certain areas. So, I just want to say, whenever I do anything, first things first, if I ever say something that is incorrect and I find out later, I will address it immediately and correct it and take the L, which is not something that pretty much, I think if people learned how to accept, if people learned how to take an L and move on, we'd all be in much better place. I think there's one of the major issues is that uh, people would rather go down with the ship than ever admit to something wrong, and then you just have people like quadrupling down on nonsense. So yes, that's there. I think the first thing is you got to be like you're fallible. I came up with like a personal saying to myself a long time ago, and I try to do it. I try to do it. Said, if I have to be wrong to learn something correct, I hope I'm wrong at least once a day. So that operates a little bit like a framework for me, because that's the truth. If you learn the truth to something you thought was wrong prior, then you learn the truth, and that's sort of the way that we want to go with this. Uh, Another thing is I'll cover a whole bunch of things. There'll be a news aspect to it, right? I mean, this is all in the future. The reason I'm doing this right now is I'm just trying to get myself in the pattern of doing this on a regular basis so that it becomes habitual. So things will change as it goes forward. I have some people set up that I want to do like interviews with. Um, One of them was the commander of the SEAL team in Somalia that that I that I that I had worked with some. That is something I want to address immediately. So, podcast space has recently, and I like it. I listened to quite a few of them. VFT's awesome. Nate's awesome. 20-year Green Beret. There's a number of people in the space that I really enjoy. Sean Ryan, of course. These individuals, there's just stuff that you have to see it to believe it. You just have to see it to believe it. So I think they're very important. I think especially now where we're going, uh, where it looks like we're going, you need to start listening to people like that. So I am going to present myself a United States Marine veteran, 13th MEUSOC, um, military expeditionary unit, special operations capable. So we were a special operations group. Got to be careful with the stolen valor here, so I'm going to lay it all out there. So MUSOC is like a rapid reaction force. It's a battalion landing team. You have to go. When I was in, you'd have to go through like an 18-month training schedule to get your special operations designation. So when you say special operations, you always think like SEALs, Delta Force, and all this other stuff. The thing is even when I was in with snipers, you would get more and more specialized as you went further down. Had I had stayed in, I would have wanted to go to MARSOC. When I was in force reconnaissance was pretty much, the wind is going to knock this thing down. Force reconnaissance was like sort of the creme de la creme. A lot of people didn't know too much about them because they don't make movies about it. They needed more people to join the Navy, so that's why they got all the publicity. So yeah, we were on ship with SEAL Team 5. And they were cool. They were cool dudes. I mean, we had our moments in the weight room. And I'll put this out there. Even all my other Marines, if they see this, and I will do it. I had the pound for pound on the entire ship, the strongest bench press. Lifting on ship during waves and stuff to make you real strong because the weight varies. So we were all like super strong. All you did was when you were on ship, you would eat and sleep and lift. So it was funny because the other guy that could bench the most outside of me, I mean, there was bigger dudes that could do more, but I was 195 pounds and I did 425. Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. It was crazy when you think back to it that we were even lifting on ship, because I saw a dude almost get his head crunched. This idiot Navy guy was doing squats on a bench. He was doing squats upside down on a bench, pushing with his legs, and we hit like a swell, so he slipped out and the bar came down. It almost, we were just looking at it, it was like we would have got hit with his brain matter. So anyway, point being right there, I want to make very sure that I don't misrepresent myself, or at least I represent myself clearly. Not Delta Force, not Force Reconnaissance, not Battalion Recon, not Scout Sniper, but MEUSOC Marine. Very, very proud of. Actually, I heard Nate say this the other day. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep grabbing onto this. I heard Nate say this on Valhalla VFT the other day, and he was right. And he was right about this. And he said this. He's like, fleet FMF Marines have seen more combat in a week in a lot of instances than a lot of these special forces guys. Oh, this thing's not going to cooperate with me. We're going to work through it though, because the FMF is, that's what it is, rapid reaction. So when something happens, you're going to be, that's who shows up. That's us. So that is what I did as far as the military was concerned. It was during right after Black Hawk Down. I think we were there within 48 hours, 48 to 72 hours. We thought we were going to Perth, Australia. We were like, yeah, that's back when Australia was awesome too. There's a lot of military people that would not come back to the boats because they'd find a woman. It's not the same place as it was then. But anyway, they brought us downstairs. We had just stopped in Singapore and grabbed chopper blades for our Cobras. Then they brought us downstairs. This wind is not cooperating with me. Come on, man. I don't have any sway with this wind. All right, so I'm gonna stand here and kind of hold this a little bit so it doesn't go flying into the water. So yeah, so we ended up they brought us downstairs. The first thing we saw the picture of the Army range, the I forget, his name escapes me, like TBI, sorry, so I can glitch on names sometimes, was being pulled through the street. So we saw those photos. So we went from being like, oh, we're gonna be in Perth, Australia, and this is gonna be awesome, and said, no, that's not what happened. So we spent 93 to 94 Christmas and New Year's in downtown Mogadishu. So the way that I hit the shore, like when a battalion landing hits the shore, it's pretty amazing because it's land, sea, and air. There's a whole bunch of stuff. You'll have all these forward things. But the way that my particular transportation got to shore was on an LCAC, which is a hovercraft, which are awesome. You got to check them out. So we would be inside the Hummer, gripe it down. Hovercraft would hit the beach. We'd drive out, throw up whatever we needed on the top of the vehicle, and ready to rock and roll. So I remember me and Gut were in the Hummer, and we're going to shore, and I was playing Guns N' Roses, Locomotive. Get ready to not to go, like, we weren't there to like go crazy and like shooting and stuff like that. But I mean, you're hitting a beach. Like, you're hitting a beach, so like I'm hitting a beach as a United States Marine, so you're definitely have some adrenaline going. No, there was, I mean, we were told we were not there for that. We're there for, it's a peacekeeping mission. Was it Restore Hope and Continue Hope? Those two. So the first thing that happened was when we hit the shore. I remember we're there, and there was like, it seemed like there was like 1,000 Somalis just chilling on the beach, going American, American, American. And I see money. I see like paper money, like snow all around us, because there's helicopters going all around and stuff. And I just see all this like floating money around. It was crazy. It was like actually like a scene you would actually see out of a movie. You know what I mean? There's the swirling of the dust, and then there's the money's flying around. And I forgot who had said it. They were like, put out a 180 perimeter. So we had to put out like a 180 perimeter. And I remember I looked at our captain. I was like, who are we supposed to keep out? It seemed like everywhere was there. It became obvious, you know, if you see people rolling up with a Jeep and a weapon out, then this is something that cannot happen. So that didn't happen. But my first experience, I looked down, I see this little Somali kid. He's like, American. I'm like, hey, little dude, what's going on, man? And I had a camera, a disposable camera, with me. That didn't work, but the flash worked. And so it was like the weirdest thing. So we're taught, and he kibits in back and forth. You don't really know much English or anything like that. But like they're kind of like started like bartering, because there's all this floating money around. So he handed me like a $10,000 like Somali dollar that was not worth anything. And so I gave him the camera. He loved it because of the flash. The flash still worked on it. So that was awesome. So that was a surreal thing. So then we're going south, because we hit north. So we're going south down to Mogadishu. And I remember I look over to the left, and you see these two women. They're walking with a donkey, and there's like laundry or something on the back of it. And I'll never forget it. I was with Gut. I was up on the top of the vehicle, and we look over, and they turn around and they look at us, and they both look like supermodels, like David Bowie's wife, both of them. That was the thing when we were there. It was like there was an enormous amount of extremely attractive Somali women. I know you see a lot of stuff on TV where they're, you know, there's a lot of things making fun and stuff like that, but that's not the case, or at least not there. I was amazed. I was like, this is crazy. So we stayed in downtown Mogadishu when we were on shore. I forget how many months we were there. We had to extend for we extended for an extra 4 weeks before our relief came in there. So here's where we get to the part to the story where things change. So it was, when you're over in those circumstances, like I was 22, so you're not really, it's half real. It's kind of half real. I mean, we were trained, and I love my guys. Like, I would definitely roll up into any situation with the group we had. We had the perfect amount of crazy and skill, and we had our fair share of knuckleheads. But we were a tight unit. Everybody was good. I would trust all those dudes with my life. So not much was going on. The scariest part of it, or the most nerve-wracking, is you pull out to the middle of Mogadishu, and we had our rules of engagement were horrible. I mean, I understood why they were there, but sometimes if you say, because I'm not a combat Marine, you got to make sure you put that out there. people out there stealing valor. That's some bullshit. But I almost tell people sometimes it's kind of worse because we would get sporadic sniper fire and stuff. Because we were right in downtown Mogadishu, and there was a standing order saying like you couldn't respond to any sort of enemy fire without the UN saying that you could fire. So like you could be being shot at, and like you'd have to be like, can I shoot back at all these people shooting at us? Or or there's the jail. Like when we would come back in, like you'd have to count your rounds every single time, and you'd have to and if you lost a round, you were fucked. There's a funny story about that. I won't say that on the thing, but we had a Marine that tried to get another Marine in trouble in that way, which was bullshit. You know who you are. That was fucked up. You shouldn't do that shit. Anyway, nothing came of that situation. So yeah, so you pulled out into Mogadishu, and it was like, go. Like you just haul ass. So we like provided security for things, and that's like as we get into the next part of the story, that's what the thing. So we were there primarily to provide security, calm things down, do all this other stuff. We were not in there to go kick down doors and take out people. I would say we were the nicest foreign force that was over there for sure. The Nigerians used to hit the Somali kids. They hated them. They were like, you should kill every one of them. You're like, what? Yeah. I was blown away at the amount of, it's not racism over in Africa. It's legitimately clanism. And then you go from like, Americans to think, oh, Africa, they're all from Africa. It's like a Nigerian or Ethiopian or Somali, they would not like it if you thought that they were the other one. So that was wild. I was like, holy crap, this is unbelievable. So we were security a lot of times. Can I back up a little? All right, so we were security, and there was this one particular day that we were going up north of Mogadishu, and I got loaned out. The commander of SEAL Team 5 would ride with us in my Hummer. And he was awesome. He was cool. I just found that he's one of the dudes I want to interview. I just found out that he's an author. I found him on Grok. So if he's an author, I would imagine that he's willing to talk about stuff because he comes up very. He destroyed my my mind. So there was one particular day we were going north to meet the Pakistanis. We were with O'Neill. I forget if anybody else was with us. I forget if it was the whole squad, but we're just north of Mogadishu, and I look out and I see about 9 Russian MiG jets, like 70s era. We all know it from like watching all the Rambo movies and stuff like that. Their MiGs have a particular look to them. And I looked over at him and I go, what the fuck are Russian jets in Africa, sir? And he just looked at me and he goes, why do you think we're here, Corporal? I said, we're here to make sure that all the people get the food. And he laughed at me, busted out a map, proceeded to go through the significance of that area of the world and that just strategically where it's placed, its value is in its location, especially how it sticks out there. He said Russians have been there, the French have been there. So in the Somalis' defense, the Somalis have been disrupted like forever. And you can't just blame the Americans for that one. That's been just an ongoing thing. So to a certain, you got to look at that situation and be like, okay, this country has been fucked over so many times. But then you look in Africa and it's just crazy. So that'll be another episode. So he did this to me, and then I was asking questions about it. I was like, how come everybody else has like UN gear and we don't have UN gear? And he goes, do you not think that that you'll be wearing like that at some point? Or do you think that there would ever be like UN helmets in the United States? And I was like, no fucking way. And he's like, I don't know. I wouldn't be so sure of that. And we proceeded to go through a whole bunch of other stuff. Like I said, he broke up the map. And his exact words, he goes, "We're here to put a U.S. friendly government in place so that when the time comes, we can bomb the fuck out of Iraq." So this is in between the first Iraq and the second Iraq. And again, like I said, he told me a lot of things. And if you basically look at what General Wesley Clark had said, and you just Google 7 countries Wesley Clark, that's what he told me. So I'm 22 years old, right? So this is destabilizing. It was even more destabilizing the years later as I watch everything unfold. So anyhow, so we do that, and then nearly after that, like we were getting close to leave. You know, it was a good time, I guess. I'm gonna get deeper into some other aspects. This is the primary one, just to kind of give an idea of where I'm coming from. Because this is not all going to be military stuff, but I want to get this out first and clear so that there's no issues later. So then later on, we were conducting these two things. I'm going to try to not get weird. So we go north of Mogadishu, and we're doing a live fire training exercise. In my mind, what this is we're blowing stuff up north of the city. It's a show of force, you know what I mean? Make some big bombs, make some big noises, do this. So it's some training for us. It was the only time I actually got to shoot a tow missile. I hit that shit too. I hit the shit out of it. Boom! We had all gas and stuff, and these old tanks that were over there. So much shit. So that was fun. But prior to that, we had to do a sweep of the area to make sure there was no Somalis down in the range of fire. So we were going around. The squad was going around. So me and Gut pulled over into like there's a circular encampment. I don't know how many people were in there, but there was a decent amount. Upwards, like over 50 people, you know what I mean? There was like, it was just a circular encampment out in the middle, and this is where these people live. So we were telling them, you know, we had little pamphlets on how to say shit in Somali. So we're like, you have to go in there. You can't be out here. It's dangerous. You gotta go. And so there started being some level of resistance. They didn't like that. So I've always been a diplomatic person. So I was like, oh, you gotta go. So all of a sudden now there's this guy standing there. He's got his whole family like right behind. The whole village is behind him. It's just me and Gut. And so he takes a couple of steps towards the Humvee, and I'm like, fuck me. Don't fuck this noise. So I was like, you need to go back. And so he takes one step forward, and he starts moving it. He's staring at me, and he starts moving his hand up like this, and he's got a black robe on. And I'm like, dude, what? And Gut's freaking out. Gut's like, dude, he's gonna fucking pull something out. He's gonna fucking do something. So I have an M249 saw, which is a fully automatic weapon. Awesome weapon, 5.56 rounds. So it's a small M60, Swiss made. Probably my favorite small arm that I had. Pretty simple, it's awesome. That's not the point. So he's still being resistant and grilling me with hate. So I pull back the bolt. I take the safety off. Ooh. I can't explain to you the first time. I can't explain it to you how to see another man's eyes through the end of your weapon. ready for that. It's a different situation if you're getting fired at or something like that. But here's a man standing here in front of his whole family. He's slowly going up there, eyes through the thing. So we're like looking right through the thing, and and Gut's freaking out. So I'm kicking him in the head. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And he's being resistant. So he's got his family behind him. And I'm like, I was like, this cannot be happening. And it seemed like it took forever because he was just moving awkwardly. And then he put his hand up to his chest and it went in his throat. And I'm pulling just enough so it was there. You get a little bit of play. And even if it's just a touch, 3 rounds are going to fly out of that thing no matter what you do. And now you have dead grandfather's brains on children. But if he pulled some out, you would have had to do that. So this guy pulls out a fucking water bottle. And he looks at me and he smiles. And he turns around and walks back. So that was the beginning of the day. So I'm like thinking of this, all this stuff starts flowing through my mind. I was like, I fucking killed this guy in front of his whole family. It was like, they're not gonna be happy people. They're not gonna grow up. They're not gonna grow up to love America. I know this much. So I'm kind of wrestling with that. So we get back to Mogadishu after this. And Captain Craparata calls us around. And he says, this never gets easy. He said, I was given one job when I came here, and that was to bring all of you home. And I failed. Perez. Lance Corporal Jesus Perez. He was 81s, he was mortars. He's part of our weapons. Our company was tight, not just the platoons, not just the squads, the whole company. We all pretty much got there at the same time. So Perez's wife was pregnant when we left. The only thing he cared about he was looking forward to holding his son for the first time when we got back. And that didn't happen. Everything got real fast. Everything got real fast. So anyhow, we'll touch more on that later. There's other stuff to get into with the Somalia stuff, but so then we head home. Obviously, things are different, and we're unpacking from ship. We were home for just a couple days. I'm just waiting for my gear to get back from the ship so we can be debriefed and head home to see family. This never gets easy. So I was unloading, our garage showed up, so I was in the middle of the parade deck and I was grabbing all my shit, and all of a sudden someone was like, "Hey, Corporal, you gotta go see First Sergeant." I was like, "What?" He said, "You got a Red Cross message." I was like, "What?" Everybody knows what that means. It means somebody died. Somebody in your family died. So in my mind, just because of age, my great-grandma Kay was like around 86, 87 years old, and in a nursing home, so you assume that. So going First Sergeant, this is March 25th. This is my baby brother Joel's birthday. I think he was turning 6. First Sergeant sits me down. Said, "Corporal Mandela, are you the son of Dennis G. Mandela?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "I regret to inform you, but he passed away at 5:20 this morning." He was 45. My baby brother's birthday. So anyway, all this is to say, all the things that happened after that. That's hard to come back from, or even to know what's going on. So either a gift or a curse. When I was 49 years old, I woke up with what was like a broken shoulder. That's a whole nother story. I'll get deeper into that. Come to find out, I have epilepsy, nocturnal focal epilepsy that mostly occurs at night, but there are things that happen during the day. And now that I'm aware of it, I know that it does this. So it's mesial temporal sclerosis. So it's right here and it's sitting on the hippocampus. So this is fight or flight too. So add all the other stuff together with that, and you having a party. So it doesn't make me a hero, doesn't make anything like that. But I've been in so many hospitals, I've been in so many situations, I've been around so many veterans that are not here anymore, or they might as well not be here anymore. They're just waiting to die or assisting themselves to do it. So I have at least made it to the top of the mountain and just over to the other side. So it's part of our duty. It's part of our duty that if you do that, then you have to go back down on the other side of the hill, and you offer assistance. You let them know, you're like, it doesn't look like you're gonna get over it, but I just came from back over there to do this, so fucking do this. As a person who was on the other side of that situation, a lot of times, that's the thing in the VA. It's like they have these things, these veterans that come in and they're like peer support, and they're not doctors, they're not psychiatrists, they're not that, but they are sort of trained in that way. And they actually did studies on it. Like they're so much more effective than the doctors because they've seen it, they've done it, and you can't bullshit them. So this channel is going to be, there's going to be a decent amount of that. I will definitely get into the situation we're in, but I've also studied a whole bunch of other things. So this video is pretty much to just start off to clear up my military stuff, because I want that to be out there initially. Because like I said, there's a lot of people out there that bullshit about what they're doing. And I'm not claiming to be Rambo or anything like that, but again, our guys are badasses. So you say to the Navy SEALs, it's like, you fuckers just have better gear. They had some different schools, but we had good schools too. So yeah, so awesome. That's 35 minutes of my ramble. So thank you for your time. And And the channel's going to be a few other things too. I'm actually going to try to get strangers to do group improv on the side of the street because we need to keep this light also. So there should be some fun stuff. I like science stuff. I dive underwater. I have underwater photography. So this is not going to be just all this. It's not going to be heavy. I don't want to be all heavy all the time. But I guess that's the base of where I come from, I guess. And there's more than that.